What's up, guys? It's your boy Canon, and I just took a flight to El Salvador all the way from Houston, Texas on Volaris Airlines, and I want to talk to you guys about it because I know it's a hot topic right now, so let's dive into it. Okay, so real quick, if you guys don't know me, my name is Canon and I travel a lot. I make different travel guides in different cities and stuff like that, and it just so happens that recently I traveled to El Salvador on an airline company that I hadn't really heard of before. It's called Volaris. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. And before I even took the flight, I was kind of worried about it because it was so cheap. I didn't know what to expect. So I'm deciding to now make a video about it now that I've taken the flight and now that I'm making it back here in Houston. I want to talk to you guys about how things went. So first off, let me just say this. If you're thinking about catching a flight on this airlines, I'm going to cut to the chase and tell you right now that it is doable, that you really can catch this flight, but you just got to keep in mind a couple things as you go along. I would compare Volaris Airlines to something along the lines of similar to being like Spirit. I've flown Spirit plenty of times, and in the beginning when I first started flying Spirit, I had my expectations way up here, and I had to bring them down. Once I brought them down, it made flying Spirit a lot easier and a lot better. And then also when you know what to expect, you can kind of fill in the gaps with what you want to do as far as entertainment and stuff like that. Okay, so first off, I flew out of Bush International Airport. I parked my car at like a long-term parking lot, which is a lot cheaper than trying to park at the actual airport. Got on a little transportation bus and rode it to the actual airport. When I got to the airport, it was kind of like in a part of the airport I hadn't been in before, kind of like tucked off in the back. I guess this is where they put all their like airlines that aren't as popular. And then I started going through security. Now security was pretty chill because it was early in the morning, and also you could tell they don't expect a lot of people to come through that security gate, so they only had like 1 or 2 lines open, and it moved pretty fast. So it was nothing changed about the security. It was normal. Then it was also pretty simple to find my gate. Now one thing I want to say is my ticket on my phone didn't update and tell me what gate it was. At first I had to actually go to Volaris.com to check my ticket to see what gate to go to. Now that was a minor inconvenience, but once I found that, I was able to navigate to my gate pretty fast and sit down. Now once I got there, I have to be honest with you, this is kind of where all the bias, like watching YouTube videos, experiences kind of came into play. I tried to keep it where I wasn't letting other people's experiences dictate how my experience was going to go, but I couldn't help but notice different things. Like when we first got there, there was a delay on our flight.
So a quick update is we have been waiting on this flight. It's supposed to be on time, but apparently they just said there was a delay of about 40 minutes. So we're gonna see what's going on. I mean, but the plane, there seems to be a plane pulling up right now as we speak. So I don't know.
Now, delays happen on flights all the time, but I guess because I'm flying an airline that I wasn't too sure of, I kind of felt like, oh man, here we go. You know, this is about to be one of those crazy YouTube videos about how a flight went bad. But it wasn't too bad. They told us that the flight was delayed by 45 minutes, but it was actually only delayed by maybe about 10 minutes. So it really wasn't that bad. My girlfriend was kind of keeping me mellow because I was trying to drum up some drama to make it more of an entertaining video to watch.
Thank you. You're trying to make something be wrong with this plane and with this airline that nothing is wrong. Okay?
This may be true.
You paid $400 for 2, not 1, but 2 round trip nonstop tickets that you bought less than 24 hours ago, and you expecting some type of first class service? No. The fact that we gonna get there is a blessing within itself.
The whole point.
So the flight got delayed. That shit happened. They randomly check people's passports all the time. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Gonna hijack my YouTube channel.
But then here's another thing that also happened. There was a point to where they called me to the counter to check my passport. They didn't call everybody. There was maybe like 4 or 5 other people they called to the counter to check our passports. I'm not exactly sure why I keep being the one that's called up there, but on both flights, on the one to El Salvador and on the way back, they checked my passport before I actually got on the plane. Everything's fine, but it is like also another minor convenience. So make sure you just have your passport ready, even though you've already gone through security check and all that stuff. Okay, so boarding the plane, everything was pretty basic. They did give pretty much all the instructions in Spanish though, even though I was still in the United States. All the commands were in Spanish, so all I knew was that I was in group 3. So I just kept trying to listen for the word tres. I just know that tres was 3 in Spanish, and that must mean that they're saying that group 3 can now board. Once I start seeing people board, and they kept saying numero uno and then numero dos, and then when they said numero tres, me and Bay knew that was our group, and we went ahead and got up and got in line with everybody else. The boarding process was normal, just like any other airlines. They scanned our tickets and then said, welcome aboard. We walked down the path to get to the actual plane. Now, finally, I could actually kind of see the plane through the window. So everything looked pretty promising. It looked like a pretty decent sized plane. It wasn't too small, but it definitely wasn't like a luxury, spacious plane either. It really reminded me of like something that you would get while flying Spirit. As a matter of fact, when I got on the plane, if it wasn't for the logo saying Volaris, to be honest with you, the plane looked exactly like a Spirit plane on the inside. It's like someone just took down the Spirit logos and put Volaris up. Once seated in my seat, I did notice that the seats were a little small. They're not super spacious like most people say online. That is true. But at the same time, it wasn't like uncomfortably small. It was like, all right, this is a little compact, but at the same time, you get what you pay for. So you can't really complain about it. You know it's going to be a little tight because they're going to try to pack as many people as they can if everyone's going to be paying cheaper. I think if I was to change something for next time when I fly Volaris, I probably would pay the extra money to go ahead and get just a little bit more leg room, which might be only 20 or 30 bucks extra, but worth it because you can comfortably sit and maybe lean a little bit to take a nap or just be able to have your space to like edit on your laptop or whatever you want to do. Now the flight itself was pretty cool, pretty standard takeoff. There was a little bit of turbulence coming through the clouds. I feel like the pilot took a little too long to go into more of like a cruising altitude where there's not as many clouds, because it seemed like for a good 10 minutes he stayed in the cloud level or altitude where there was a lot of turbulence, and some people on the plane were getting a little antsy and scared. Me and Bae just kept looking at each other laughing because we know what to expect when it comes to turbulence. And if you're riding in a smaller plane, of course it's easier to have turbulence on your plane. You're like a little thing flying through the air and it's going to push you around. But yeah, once we got up and going, everything was peachy. There was snacks that they served for purchase, just like Spirit Airlines. And they even had alcohol for sale. I think I purchased like a shot of like Bacardi and like some Coke and stuff like that. So like a little rum and Coke. And it was cool. Kim was able to like sleep on my shoulder and get a nap in. The flight was only about 2 hours and 50 minutes. So I was watching Netflix on my iPad, and before I knew it, we were landing. Landing was pretty cool.
Looks like we made it. Guess I can't say anything negative about Volaris. Y'all have this video right here on the internet to see for your own self that you too can go ahead and book a flight and make it.
Only thing we went through after that was a little bit of immigration to get into the country, which was a little interesting. It was different. Here's something that I wasn't expecting. One thing you do need to have is like some money in your pocket to be able to get into the country, because El Salvador charges like a $12 fee to be able to enter the country. So for me and Bae, it was $24 even. We paid that in cash. The main currency in El Salvador is the USD, which is the American dollar. So that just makes everything a lot easier. You don't have to convert anything. The prices over there do seem a little bit cheaper, but that's for a whole other video. But as far as Volaris, I had no problem flying Volaris at all. I would definitely fly them again. It's a really good budget airlines. I know I've seen some horrible stories here on YouTube about Volaris, and it made me scared to fly Volaris. And by the way, I don't know this airline at all. They're not paying me. I get nothing at all for making this video about the airline. I just wanted to give my honest review. Now, if it would have went left, I definitely would have told you guys it went left, but it was a normal flight. Once again, I would fly it, no problem. So if you're thinking about making a purchase to fly to somewhere in Central America or wherever on Volaris Airlines, go ahead and do it. But alright guys, with that said, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, please make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on this video, and I will get back to you guys. Keep aiming for the top. Peace.